Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Gold Rush. Tony Beets gives Parker Schnabel what Kevin wants. In the Gold Rush Season 14, Episode 15 entitled Succession, Tony Beets gives Parker Schnabel exactly what Kevin Beets wants. That is not all. This week, one gold miner has machine issues, another finds a surprise, and the third takes a big gamble. Here is the latest news on the popular Discovery series. Gold Rush Season 14, Episode 15 is called Succession. What happens in this episode? According to Rotten Tomatoes, the Beets family implodes trying to get the Paradise Hill trommel running. Parker starts sluicing Australia Creek and finds a big surprise. Rick makes an all-or-nothing decision to return to Raleigh Valley. There is a lot to unpack here. Firstly, the Beets family does not seem to get any closer to healing their wounds. Moreover, their dismal gold totals show a lack of respect and ability to work as a team. Can the Beets family stop fighting and start working together? Next, Parker Schnabel continues to work hard. But what is this big surprise? There is no indication of whether this is a good or bad discovery. Lastly, Rick Ness has moved on from the Bacon Cut, now has returned to Raleigh Valley. Can they find a way to squeeze more gold each week? Team Raleigh has not made their goals. If he doesn't make it happen at Raleigh Valley, Rick may be done. In addition to the Gold Rush synopsis, even more is happening this week on the Discovery show. According to the Twitter preview, Parker Schnabel gives Tony Beets a tour of his big purchase. Therefore, Parker shows Tony the Dominion Creek property and all of the machinery that he is going to have up for sale. Instead of buying anything, Tony gives Parker praise. He is proud of what Parker has accomplished. In return, Parker thanks Tony. Without Tony taking a gamble on him, he would not be where he is now. Tony's reply was genuine. He revealed that he knew what a good worker Parker was. Subsequently, he was happy to work with someone who put all of his efforts into making his gold mining business a success. Tony points out that Parker's desire is not something you can't get at school. Granted, Parker was taught by the best, John Schnabel. However, Tony's hard lessons are what made him a great success. In contrast, Kevin Beets wants credit. Moreover, he wants praise. But Tony Beets did not say anything of the kind. He seemed to take off the beginning of Gold Rush Season 14 with the excuse of gardening. Instead, he seemed to want to give his folks a lesson that he was indispensable. Last week, he returned but was not satisfied. Tony and Kevin are not communicating. Parker Schnabel stood at the edge of the claim, the cold morning air nipping at his cheeks. The Alaskan wilderness stretched out before him, a vast expanse of snow-dusted trees and rocky ground that promised both fortune and hardship. His crew worked tirelessly, their breath visible in the crisp air as they manned the equipment, turning the frozen earth in search of gold. For Parker, gold mining was more than a job, it was a legacy. His grandfather had taught him the trade, and now, as the leader of his own crew, Parker felt the weight of that responsibility. Every decision he made could mean the difference between striking it rich or going bust. As he watched the machinery hum and grind, a familiar figure approached. Tony Beets, the legendary king of the Klondike, was a larger-than-life presence in the mining world. With his thick beard and booming voice, Tony commanded respect and fear in equal measure. Parker had learned a lot from Tony over the years, though their relationship had its ups and downs. "Hey, Parker," Tony greeted, his voice cutting through the noise. "Got a minute?" Parker nodded, curiosity piqued. Tony wasn't one for idle chit-chat. "What's up, Tony?" Tony gestured towards the edge of the claim where the land sloped down towards a hidden creek. "I want to show you something. Come with me." As they walked, Tony explained, "I've been working on something special. An old claim that I think has a lot of potential. I want you to see it." Parker's interest grew. Tony was known for his shrewd business acumen and uncanny knack for finding gold where others had failed. If he thought this claim was worth looking at, it probably was. When they reached the creek, Tony stopped and pointed to a cluster of boulders half buried in the snow. "There," he said. "That's where it starts. This whole area is rich with gold, but it's going to take some serious work to get it out." Parker studied the terrain, his mind racing with possibilities. "Why are you showing me this, Tony?" Tony's eyes gleamed with a mixture of pride and challenge. "Because I think you can handle it. This claim is yours if you want it. Parker's heart skipped a beat. This was an incredible opportunity, but it wasn't without its risks. "What's the catch?" Tony chuckled. A deep, rumbling sound. "No catch. I just think it's time you had a shot at something big. Besides, I've got my hands full with my own operations." Parker knew better than to take Tony's words at face value. There was always a catch. But he also knew that Tony wasn't one to offer something like this lightly. If he believed in the potential of this claim, then it was worth considering. As they walked back to the main site, Parker mulled over the offer. He needed to discuss it with his crew, especially Kevin, his trusted foreman and friend. Kevin had been with him through thick and thin, and his input was invaluable. Back at the camp, Parker gathered his team. Kevin stood at his side, his expression serious. "What's going on, Parker?" Parker took a deep breath and explained Tony's offer. As he spoke, he watched Kevin's face, searching for any sign of doubt or excitement. Kevin listened intently, his brow furrowing in thought. When Parker finished, Kevin nodded slowly. "It's a big risk, but it could pay off. If Tony thinks it's worth it, then it probably is." Parker smiled, relieved to have Kevin's support. "Let's do it then. We'll take the claim." The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. Parker and his crew moved their equipment to the new site, setting up camp and preparing for the hard work ahead. The ground was tough, frozen solid in places and treacherously slippery in others. But they persevered, driven by the promise of gold. As the weeks passed, the new claim began to yield its treasures. Flakes of gold glinted in the pan, a tantalizing preview of what lay beneath the surface. The crew's morale soared, their hard work paying off in glittering rewards. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the camp, Parker sat by the fire, his thoughts drifting to Tony. He hadn't seen the old miner in weeks, but he knew that Tony was keeping an eye on their progress. Suddenly, there was a rustle in the bushes and Tony emerged, a broad grin on his face. "I see you're making good progress," he said, clapping Parker on the back. Parker grinned back. "Yeah, we are. Thanks to you." Tony shook his head. "No. Thanks to you and your crew. You're the ones putting in the work." As they sat by the fire, sharing stories and laughter, Parker realized something important. Tony's gift had been more than just a piece of land. It was a vote of confidence, a belief in Parker's abilities as a miner and a leader. In the crisp morning air of the Yukon, the vast expanse of the Klondike stretched out under the golden light of dawn. The whispers of a new gold rush had reached every corner of the mining camps, bringing with it a mix of anticipation, rivalry, and the unrelenting quest for fortune. Among the seasoned miners and fresh-faced adventurers, two names stood out: Tony Beets and Parker Schnabel. Their reputations were as solid as the nuggets they pulled from the earth, and their rivalry was legendary. Tony Beets, the Dutchman with a heart as tough as the landscape he had conquered, was known for his ruthless efficiency and unparalleled knowledge of the land. He had built an empire on the back of his grit, turning unyielding terrain into rivers of gold. His weathered face, lined with years of hard work and determination, was a testament to his relentless spirit. Tony's mining operations were a well-oiled machine, each member of his crew a cog in the mechanism of success. Parker Schnabel, on the other hand, was the young prodigy of the mining world. With the legacy of his grandfather driving him, Parker had risen through the ranks, proving that age was no barrier to expertise. His innovative approach and relentless drive had earned him respect and envy in equal measure. Parker's crew was loyal, driven by the same thirst for gold that consumed their leader. They had faced countless challenges together, forging bonds as strong as the metal they sought. One particular morning, the air was thick with tension. Parker had his eye on a piece of land rumored to be rich with untouched veins of gold. But there was a problem. Tony Beets had already staked his claim on it. Parker knew that negotiating with Tony was no small feat. The Dutchman was as stubborn as the bedrock they both drilled into daily. As Parker's crew gathered for their morning briefing, the young leader couldn't shake the feeling that today would be pivotal. "Listen up, everyone," Parker's voice cut through the crisp air. "We're going to have to think outside the box if we want to secure that land. Tony's not going to hand it over without a fight."